Before we get into the video, I have like 5 or 10 comments on every single build that I put out asking how all these mods that I have on these builds only cost me 1 energy instead of the base 3 that they start at. If you guys didn't know already, anything in the second column will decrease the cost of the effective mods that they target. Here, any grenade-based mod will go from 3 to 1, void mods 3 to 1, and then solar mods 3 to 1. There's also stuff for strand mods and then strand siphon mods if you want those as well. That's it. Make sure you have these equipped. Yo, what's going on guys? It's G-Miners here, and in this video I have a brand new Handheld Supernova build that works even better with the new mod system introduced in Lightfall. I took this up against a bunch of areas where I was 15 to 20 power levels under the requirement, making it similar to contest mode raids. With this build, we're getting insane burst damage through all of our grenades. These are able to kill even faster than scatters and can easily one-shot yellow bars while under power. Plus, we're always proccing Devour on our ability kills, making us borderline invincible. And this, plus our mod setup, gives back more grenade energy than should realistically be allowed in the game. So we're spamming these Handheld Supernovas, making up the majority of our ad clear. And then whenever we need a little bit more grenade energy, we can easily get kills in endgame content with Volatile Flow and Devour through the artifact this season. I took this into the Legend Lost sector of the day, and just for general ad clear, the build was one-shotting everything. Obviously, since I was under power and champions were heavily beefed up, I wasn't one-shotting any champs, but after comparing Handheld Supernova to Vortex grenades, they're actually way stronger. Here, as you're going to see, a full duration Vortex grenade did around 1/6 of the unstopped champion's health. Keep in mind, this is with Contras, Chaos Accelerant, Echo of Undermining for a 15% increase, and Echo of Remnants. So this is the most damage a Vortex can deal with this setup. And then just looking over at magnetic grenades, which are what turned into Handheld Supernovas, my first grenade did slightly more damage than the Vortex, and then in the second and third grenades, these absolutely chunked the champion's health. So not only do these just do more damage, they also have way higher DPS, since the damage is dealt in the span of a second rather than over multiple seconds. Overall, this build feels really similar to my Nothing Manacles Scatter Grenade build, which a ton of you guys commented or mentioned in the Discord that you ended up using to get it clear in the Day 1 Root of Nightmares raid. So without further ado, let's take a look at what makes this build work. Real quick, before we go over the full subclass setup, if you guys aren't subbed already, make sure to drop a quick like and sub down below. It takes 2 seconds and it helps me out a ton. With that said, I typically run Vortex Nova Bomb as my super, but whatever super you end up choosing is going to work perfectly with the build. All 3 supers are great. Your Rift isn't going to matter that much. I defaulted to Healing Rift, but Empowering Rift is honestly a better choice if you do want that 20% increase in weapon damage. Lastly, the centerpiece for our abilities is going to be Magnetic Grenade. This is going to turn into Handheld Supernova with one of our aspects, so absolutely make sure you have this on with the build. Aspect-wise, first we have Feed the Void, which now procs Devour anytime we get an ability Final Blow. With Devour, any kill after this is proc is going to extend the duration of Devour, give us full health and full shields per kill, along with a percentage of grenade energy, depending on the tier of the enemy we kill. And then with this, absolutely crucial to the build so that we get our Handheld Supernovas, is going to be Chaos Accelerant. This lets us charge up our grenade, and in the case of magnetic grenades, it's going to release a short-range blast, aka Handheld Supernova, which instantly kills enemies. Echo of Undermining is then going to be used to give us a 15% debuff for our grenades. So now anything that our grenades hit will take 15% more damage from all sources. And if nothing else, this just means our grenades are dealing 15% more damage on their own. Since we are in an orb generation meta, I think Echo of Starvation is way too strong not to have on any Devour build, even if we do have Feed the Void. So with this, now picking up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power will proc Devour. Lastly, with this build, we have Echo of Expulsion. This just makes Void ability Final Blows cause enemies to explode, dealing damage to enemies nearby them when they die. I ran this without this fragment on, and it didn't feel nearly as strong as before in previous seasons, so I decided to keep it. Overall, despite having 2 sources for Devour, I thought these choices were the best for the build for endgame content overall, and for the ease of use in general play. Moving on to the mods I have with this build, everything is used for a very specific reason, which tends to just be to give our grenades back in a rapid fashion. So if you want, you can take a screenshot here and apply the mods as you follow along, and listen to why I chose each mod that I did. On my helmet, I'm running double ashes to assets so that we get increased super energy gains when getting grenade final blows. We're spamming grenades as you've seen with the build, so this builds our super extremely quickly. With this, I do also have on Void Siphon. The reason for Void Siphon, it's Void build, Volatile Flow is in the artifact. I think it's extremely strong with this build, and we do end up getting a bunch of weapon final blows to increase our grenade energy gains through Devour as well, so this comes in clutch too. With this build, we are also running Contraverse Hold, so make sure you have these equipped. Now, since we're also charging up our grenade through Chaos Accelerant to turn it into a Handheld Supernova, this is going to give us the added benefit of grenade energy back with direct hits. Firepower is going to create orbs of power on grenade final blows, and then with these, like I said, we can also proc Devour. So as we have orbs of power around the map, if there's a tight situation where we need full health and full shields, and we can't get a quick ability kill or a weapon kill, we can just grab an orb of power. I'm also running 2 copies of Grenade Kickstart with the build. With this, anytime we throw our grenade and we have armor charge stacks, those armor charge stacks are going to be consumed to instantly give us a portion of our grenade straight back. I tried running this with only 1 copy and it just didn't feel as good. I always found myself needing a little bit of grenade energy back, so 2 copies was much better overall for the cycle of gameplay. And then with this, even if I didn't get my full grenade refunded for whatever reason, I would be able to just pick up like 1 orb of power or get 1 kill with Devour and instantly have the nade back that way. On my chest piece, I just have armor stat mods to increase my stats for the build, and then I also have on damage resistance mods. This is something that you should always be doing for end game content. I don't think any other mod in this slot is worth running over DR. Moving on to my boots, since grenades are the most important thing with this build, and since we already get full health and full shields instantly on orb pickup with Devour, having on Innervation is great since we get a large chunk of grenade energy back each time we pick up an orb of power. Also with this build, I do have on stacks. Now, anytime we pick up an orb of power, rather than getting 1 single armor charge stack, we get 2 stacks. This just helps with grenade kickstart since we always have a higher base amount of armor charges to consume. Lastly, moving on to my class item, I didn't feel like anything really fit here unless you're doing like a special finisher build or something with finishers like all of these mods. There's nothing really that helps that much, so I just opted for something like Double Bomber so that if I do need a larger chunk, up to something like 25 or 30% of my grenade back, I can just drop a Rift on Warlock to get that percentage back. And I do also have on Reaper so that anytime after I drop my Rift, cast that down and get Bomber to activate, the next kill will also drop an Orb of Power, which helps proc Devour, or as I mentioned, Innervation for more grenade energy. At the end of the day, this is our full Void subclass layout, so make sure that yours looks exactly like this. And then with that, this is our full mod layout. I will also mention the other thing I didn't really cover was Volatile Flow. You should already by default have this active in your artifact, but in case you don't, this is going to give volatile rounds for Void weapons on Orb of Power pickup this season only. Just to go over how you guys should be using the build and using it effectively, it's obviously going to work in high ad dense locations. So I'm in the same lost sector from the previous video on Neomuna, and I think this is a great place to practice because of the ad density, but also the ads are swords, as you can see, which means we're about -10 to -20 power levels under. Could even be more depending on your power level. But this is going to give you a pretty good gauge for how the build is going to perform in something like a day 1 raid setting. That being said, I do have 2 copies of Grenade Kickstart on my gauntlets, as I covered in the mod section of the video. And that's because this allows me to get more energy back when throwing my grenades. As you're going to see, my grenade is almost fully returned right there. So you can either wait a few seconds for Discipline to kick in, get a kill with Devour, or pick up 1 Orb of Power, which we are generating left and right with Firepower. This just gives a better full cycle for the build, allows you to keep spamming grenades rather than having any major periods of downtime so that you can keep getting kills. Lastly, I just cast Nova Bomb right there. And as you're going to see with something like Ashes to Assets, we're getting a ton of super energy back through this build. We're just going to keep spamming magnetic grenades, which turn into Handheld Supernovas, as I mentioned. And then you're going to see we get a ton of Orbs of Power, which give us a bunch of our super back. And then the rest of our super comes just through the grenade kills that we're getting left and right. Obviously, this is a lot of ads to be dealing with, especially on your own. So in like a team setting, you might not get all of these kills, but we pretty much get our full super back in like 5 grenades here. That's pretty much it. We can instantly cast super again and then start the cycle over. That is pretty much it for the video and the build. As you saw, it's extremely good at handling dense ad groups. It's really good at insta-killing even yellow bars in harder pieces of content like you saw in the Lost Sector. It deals more damage than something like a Vortex grenade, and I think it's a way quicker playstyle than waiting for Vortexes to get kills as well. In terms of weapons, I was really just using a funnel web here, which you don't even need to use, so that leaves your entire array of weapon slots open so that you can use whatever heavy or special weapons you need for any raid encounter that exists in the game, or GMs, or whatever it may be. I do stream a bunch over on my Twitch. A link will be in the description below if you guys want to check that out, along with my Discord server where I always ping when I go live so that you guys can never miss a stream. Anyways, that's it for this video. As always, have a good one, guys. Peace.